G'day everyone, Rick Fontaine with you with thanks to DLM Machinery for another week of Tassie Rules Tasmania's footy show. We have got plenty to get through, plenty of stories on tonight's show, so we're going to get stuck into it straight away. Firstly, we're going to take a look at the NWFL. They've got a full round of matches coming up with the SFL and the NTFA playing in the Tas Rep Series, which we'll get onto a bit later. So let's have a look at the NWFL ladder for the men first of all, and we can see that Devonport are still on top of the ladder. They remain undefeated. Wynyard are third with 5 wins and 2 losses. Penguin and Burnie rounding out the top 5 with 4 wins apiece. But second place, Ulverston, 7 wins and 1 loss. They were involved in an incredible finish at West Park last Saturday. Let's take a look at the closing stages with the scores level. Well, there we go. We love a bit of theatre, don't we? We ball very, very close to the line, but the umpires coming together and a great win there for Ulverston after the siren. Luke Murphy-Cohen, very familiar face to many people right around Tasmania, of course, premiership player with Longford in his first season with the Ulverston Robins. He was the match winner and swamped at the end. So a great win there for Ulverston over the Burnie Dockers. Well, before we get on to the matches this week, let's have a look at the state of play in the women. We've got the NWFL women's ladder. Penguin and Wynyard, there they are, 6 and 1, first and second on the ladder, separated by percentage. Devonport there currently in third, and also Ulverston in fourth place, opened up a pretty decent gap. Let's have a look at the matches coming up this weekend in the NWFL. We have got some beauties. In the men's this weekend with second-placed Ulverston, they're taking on Wynyard, who are third, and the undefeated Devonport are at home to their big arch rival, the Burnie Dockers. Always a great occasion. Elsewhere, Penguin are hosting Latrobe, and East Devonport, who we featured on last week's show, looking for their first win of the season, their first win since coming out of recess. They take on the Circular Head Saints at Girdleston Park, whilst in the women's, pick of the matches there certainly looks to be at Ulverston, where the Robins fourth are playing second-placed Wynyard. Circular Head have the bye this week. Now, out as a mark of respect at all NWFL senior men's matches this weekend, they'll be observing a minute's silence prior to the opening bounce of the matches, as the Northwest community, of course, are mourning the loss, the tragic loss of a dedicated and respected police officer, Constable Keith Smith, following the tragic events in North Motton earlier this week. So certainly our thoughts are with his family, colleagues and friends at this terrible and incredibly difficult time. And the NWFA, incidentally, will be doing the same of their matches down the coast this weekend as well. All right, moving on to the rep game. We touched on it earlier. It is the decider in the Tasmanian Representative Series. The SFL and the NTFA, their men have won 1 match apiece, both scoring victories over the NWFL. The NTFA winning by 23 points in that game, the SFL by 19. So this should be a beauty at North Hobart Oval. The SFL women, they'll start favourite in their game against the NTFA. It should be a very good clash. So if you can get down to North Hobart Oval, head along. Should be always a great occasion, rep games. The 400 Club, great event coming up at Turners Beach on Saturday, the 5th of July. Why is it called the 400 Club? Dustin Fletcher and Brent Harvey, they are the special guests, of course, having played over 400 AFL games. Head to the Turners Beach Facebook page. This will be a cracking night. And also a cracking night coming up is the gala dinner on Saturday, the 12th of July at the Launceston Football Club. We'll show you here the team of the 2000s is going to be selected and announced on the night. A very successful era for the Blues. They've won 7 premierships, including 4 in the TSL, which also included a three-peat from 2020 to 22. Initial squad of 50 you can see there on your screen. As we said, it's going to come down to a final team that'll be announced on the night, Saturday, the 12th of July, the 150th anniversary gala dinner. Have a look at some of the names there. Adam Derbyshire, Jay Blackberry, of course, Geelong and Sydney player Jackson Thurlow, Brian Finch, Vince Hennessy. The list goes on. It is a great squad, and good luck to those who have got the difficult task of having to name the team. Tickets are still available. Head to the Launceston Football Club Facebook page for details of that dinner. Now, thanks to Balls and Bumpers, they've got a big event coming up on the 5th of July at their store. None other than Collingwood star Jamie Elliott is going to be there from 10:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. Packages start from just $75. Head on to ballsandbumpers.com.au for all the details and your tickets. And check these pics out. Great night last week on King Island at Curry. Look at that. They christened the brand new lights in the King Island Football Association, where North took on Grassy at Curry. And it was North who got a 4-goal win. Look at the cars. Look at the crowd. A fantastic crowd there at Curry last weekend. Beautiful weather as well. And North winning by 27 points. Jeremy Summers, well, he was the star of the show. He kicked 8 of his side's 11 goals. So well done there to everyone involved on King Island with that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Our Club in Focus, thanks to Harrison Agents, is next.
For 30 years, DLM Machinery has kept Tasmania's construction industry moving. As the sole Tasmanian distributors of Cabelco, ASV Positrax and Merlot telehandlers, we offer trusted sales, parts and service with locations in Launceston and Hobart. From excavators to telehandlers, routine maintenance to field repairs, our skilled team has you covered wherever the job takes you. DLM Machinery. Local, reliable, ready when you need us. Get in touch today.
Well, they are a proud and successful club with a rich history. The St. Pat's Football Club, they play in the NTFA Division 1 competition. They were grand finalists in 2023, premiers the previous year. 2024 was certainly a season of rebuilding for the club, finishing in 5th place. They're currently sitting 5th this season in the new look competition. However, with 5 of the clubs in this 9-team league dropping down from the Premier Division, it's pretty clear to see that the Saints are on the rise. So joining us today, tell us what is making this club tick. He's a good friend of the show, former president, now looking after the operations and facilities at St. Pat's. Ian McCallum, nice to see you, Macca.
Terrific, Rick. Yeah, it's great to be here again.
Keeping well?
My word, my word.
And enjoying a great season of football. It's a great competition, isn't it, this year?
It's a terrific competition. I think most people felt beforehand that this was going to be the most even competition, and it's proved that way. Yeah. There's no blowouts. There's no easy games like we used to have when we in our old division. And it's just very, very competitive. And it's who's going to make the finals. Who would know at this stage?
Exactly. And that's why we wanted to chat to you today, because there's been some documented, well-made significant changes to the NTFA in particular overall. But the Division 1 competition, it's been super. We're going to pop up the ladder here to show you where things stand at the moment. Rochalee are on top of the table. They are still undefeated, but it hasn't been all one-way traffic. Also, Bracknell, they're sitting second. They've won 5 of their past 6. They're in good form. But as a club, how are you finding the competition? Because as I mentioned in the intro, we've had a number of teams that have obviously had to come down from Premier Division that are not in the Premier League. How are you finding it?
Well, a lot of new ground for us, obviously, because we hadn't played in many of these clubs for many, many years. But the competition is terrific. We're a relatively young side. We have 9 of our 18s, anywhere between 7 to 9 of our 18s last year playing in our senior team, which is fantastic. We played Rochalee, and that was a bit of a case of boys against men. but we learned from that. But it's a terrific competition, very even.
It's good. And to touch on the juniors, 2021, your club entered an agreement with the Prospect Hawks Junior Football Club. So, I mean, this was the first step to establishing a local pathway from Auskick right through to seniors for the boys and girls coming through for such a big suburb and area of Launceston up Prospect Way. I mean, how significant has that been? I mean, particularly talking about the fact that you've already been able to blood a number of youngsters in seniors.
Extremely significant, and probably credit to Damien Jones, who he initiated that. There had been some early discussions, but Damien was a key driver of that. And the first step was to introduce the under-18s, and then a women's team, which we did last year, and it's absolutely crucial. The 18s in particular, if you look at this year we our under-18s sit a clear third. South Launceston and Launceston, the two outstanding teams, but we're a clear third. But we only have in our team 3 top age boys, and the rest are straight out of the under 16s, which is Prospect under 16s, which is terrific.
Yeah.
And I might add, Prospect loses 4 to 5 top end boys to Premier League clubs. One club in particular, use them as a source of recruiting, and that's the lay of the land. That's what happens. I mean, we could take an attitude of woe is us, but we don't. What we attempt to do is create a fun place to be, a good football club to be at. In the short term and in the long term, we'll aspire to provide those boys with straight into Premier League.
Yeah, terrific. We can see by the ladder in the under-18s as well, as you touched on, South Launceston and Launceston, 2 power clubs that are currently sitting first and second. But there you are, St Pat's ahead of Rochely, Longford making up the top 5 there. You talk about obviously players going somewhere else, harbouring ambitions to play in the Premier League. You've got a futures committee. Tell us about the role there. Does the club harbour ambitions? We know promotion and relegation is not going to happen in the next year or two, but do you harbour ambitions that if you're good enough, you would like to aspire to that level?
No doubt whatsoever. To the end of my tenure as president, I was leaning towards perhaps making Prospect at Harley Parade our home base. We met opposition, particularly from Meander Council, on that because there's a lot of clubs up there. New president, Jacob Lowe, Jake is doing a fantastic job, and he's taken a different tack, which we've all embraced, that our intention is to make St Pat's, our ground there at the school, as it's the spiritual home of St Pat's, and to make that our home. Now, obviously, our facilities aren't up to speed there. So there's a lot of work to be done there where we've already started open dialogue with the school and so forth. It'll be very interesting to see where we sit in 5 years' time. But there's no doubt we aspire to play at the top level.
And a huge school as well that's on your doorstep.
Oh, it is too. Look, in the area, I mean, Prospect High School's just around the road as well. So geographically, we're very well set up. And we've got Jacob with his new committee. What he's done, there's been an influx of 30-year-olds in there, as well as women on the committee as well. And we're getting different ideas, which is fantastic. Rather than just tend to be there's still good experienced people there, but the influx of younger people is just fantastic. And like I say, Jacob's doing a fantastic job.
The club established a women's team for the first time at the beginning of last year. This year, you've got the best 3 women's teams, as it turns out, from last year who were in the Premier Division in Bridge North, Old Launcestonians and Old Scotch are competing there. But now into its second year, how's it going?
It's one of the anomalies, isn't it, of the new setup? I mean, those 3 clubs have about a 5-year, 6-year start on us. But the girls are really enjoying it, and yes, there's been a couple of blowouts, and we accept that. But it's a steep learning curve for the girls. It's important for us to keep it a fun place to be around. We've changed our training setup now, where all 4 teams train on the Thursday night, and it's club night. We'll serve anywhere up to 60, 65 chicken parmas and so forth. That's a sit-down meal. couple of the girls have a red wine. I think if some of the old boys from St. Pat's would roll over in their grove, they saw us drinking red wine on a Thursday night. But these are the changes that our clubs are making.
Yeah. We were just looking at the ladder then and see those those top three sides obviously dominating, but you had a couple of wins there and certainly something to build on. Might have to come up on a Thursday night as well for the 67th order of a palmy, I think, on that night, and a glass of red wine. Sounds particularly with the cold weather at the moment, Macca. But it's a terrific club, and said you've got a rich history, but it really seems like the future. You've taken some great steps over the last few years. We saw this with East Devonport last week when we spoke to them. 4 years in recess and how important the juniors was. It really is the future for a club like yours, isn't it? It's not just about the Premier League competitions. These lower divisions aren't getting a lot of recognition at the moment at a state level, but they're significantly important to many, many people.
Oh, my word. It's going to be a real lifeline to our football club. When we took on the under-18s, when they came into being, it served two purposes. One was obviously to help our football club as a growth, but also what was happening with Prospect. The Premier League clubs were picking the eyes out of Prospect, taking the best ones, and the rest were going, where are we going? A lot of them just gave away football. And we all know the situation with under-18 football at the moment, where the numbers aren't great. So it's keeping boys in football, and that's absolutely crucial. Absolutely crucial.
Well done to Jake and yourself and the entire committee. It's in a good place, and you can see that.
My word,
it's there's everything is sort of laid out for the future of the club with the women and of course the under-18s coming through. So good luck for the rest of the season. It's a cracker of a Division 1 senior men's competition in particular. And I know, speaking to Roach Ali a few weeks ago to their coach, he said the toughest game they've had so far was actually against Old Scotcher on the bottom of that stage. They were winless. So it does show you've got to be on your A game every week.
Well, I mean, that came out in the last round. 2 weeks ago, Georgetown defeated Lilydale comfortably. Yeah, comfortably. And they're knocking on the door of the 5. They're right behind us. But then last week, Scotch goes up and plays them at Georgetown, which is a difficult exercise, and goes up there and has their first win of the season. It's a great competition. It is.
Looking forward to the last couple of months of that. So, Macca, great to catch up with you. Thanks for coming in, and we'll keep a very close eye on how things go in the Division 1.
Terrific, Rick. And congratulations to you with the show. I know the numbers have almost doubled from last year, and the fact that it goes all over Tasmania already incorporates all the competitions. I think this show is doing an outstanding job.
Good on you. Appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Ian McCallum, president of former president, of course, of the St. Pat's now, but still very heavily involved. So great to have him on the show. We're going to take a quick break. Plenty more to come very shortly.
For 30 years, DLN Machinery has kept Tasmania's construction industry moving as the sole Tasmanian distributors of Kobelco, ASV Positrax and Merlot telehandlers. We offer trusted sales, parts and service with locations in Launceston and Hobart. From excavators to telehandlers, routine maintenance to field repairs, our skilled team has you covered wherever the job takes you. DLN Machinery. Local, reliable, ready when you need us. Get in touch today.
HST Tree Specialists. We are the industry leaders in vegetation management in Tasmania. Our services include tree solutions, hazardous vegetation removal, and project consultations. We are committed to eliminating vegetation-based risk in Tasmania while being sensitive to environmental impact, with a strong focus on health and safety practices. And from large-scale government and commercial projects, small private arboriculture jobs, and equipment hire, MyTas recommends HST.
Welcome back to Tassie Rules, Tasmania's footy show. Now, just a reminder, we've got a huge game coming up at North Hobart Oval this Saturday. The SFL and the NTFA, the women getting underway at 12 p.m, the men at 2:10 p.m. Tickets are only $5, so very, very good value to get down there. The men's game is a decider. The SFL will take out the women's series, but with a victory. But the men, this is the decider. The winner will be crowned Tasmanian Representative Series winner. All right, let's. We've had a number of photos here for our photos of the week. So we've got a few to get through. Big thanks to a regular contributor, Peter Haley, who sent us in this one. This is Lockie Wells in action for Perth against Bridport last Saturday. Perth scoring a big win to remain top of the ladder in NTFA Division 2. They are the only undefeated side. So thank you to Peter. And this is a great shot from the Wynyard Penguin NWFL clash last Saturday at Wynyard. The Wynyard Cats getting a very good win, and they're travelling along pretty nicely in the senior division down there in the NWFL. Another great contributor to the show, David Clark, sent us in a couple of beauties. This is Adam Wacky Johns. He is leading the Huonville Lions and his children out on the ground. Game number 250 for Andrew Johns of the Huonville Lions. There they go through the banner, marking the big occasion. So a fantastic banner and captured beautifully by David Clark. Thank you for sending that in, Dave. Brad Moylan sent us in this one. Parrot Park, Bridgenorth. Here is Matthew Zanetto, one of the club's greats, leading the players from both sides off the ground after their clash with Bracknell. It was game number 200 for Matt, and kicked the goal as well for the Parrots in that clash. And finally, this is good to see, isn't it? It was Ladies' Day at the Latrobe Football Club last weekend, and the players lending a hand in the canteen as the club acknowledged the long-standing and ongoing support through volunteer work at the club. So terrific to see, and I hope everyone had a great day. And thank you to all the volunteers helping at club level right around Tasmania every week. That's it for this week's show. Zane Littlejohn is going to join us, Box Hill Hawks coach, on the show next week. Always great to see what our Tasmanian products are doing on the mainland. So a big show. But if you want to get in touch, we've had a lot of stories on here tonight, a lot of news, a lot of photos. We would love to hear from you. Send us a message on our Facebook page, and we will certainly pop it up on the show. Thanks very much to all of our great supporters. Thank you to DLM Machinery. We'll catch you next Thursday on Tassie Rules, Tasmania's footy show. Enjoy your footy weekend.